All right, here we go. Let me get the intro out of the way of Alex's face. And here we are,
Put it
Thursday
in front of my
night.
face.
Hey man, it's just the way things go when I'm running the show. Apparently,
You,
at least you're
you
not a
run this
huge
production.
you're not a huge block of ice. All right, so
I mean, that's a
I'm
good thing.
I'm new to this whole video production thing, so give me a little bit to get used to it. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did last year. So let's just be that honest. It's not that bad.
Okay.
Let's go. Let me pause the live stream over here. Hopefully it's not too bad for those who are viewing tonight. For those who aren't viewing, hopefully you're just scanning over right now. But all right, Thursday night, what we're going to do is go through some cash game picks, some GPP picks, play a little Who's Your Bay? Who's Alex's Bay? And we'll go back and forth, try to get you guys some good picks, again, for both cash and GPP, and give you a couple of ideas in both sides so that we're not everybody taking the same pick as Peyton throws up a lame duck pass there. Wow, you weren't kidding.
An arm.
It was awesome to see that. But
No, it's not awesome.
it's
sad.
great. It is great. I do like it.
sad.
As an owner of the Kansas City Chiefs defense and Justin Houston as well, it's awesome. So
You play in IDP leagues? Since when?
I do play in one IDP league, and it is a lot of fun. We do.
Yeah.
It's a different format though. It's not normal IDP, or it's not like every position IDP. It's categories. So we do one D lineman, one linebacker, one secondary player.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
I run Johnny's team that he has that too. Mine's all just like flex IDPs. So I'm running with Jamie Collins, Stephen Tulloch, Jelani Jenkins, and Danny Trevathan off the bench. Stacked.
That's nice. You are stacked there. All right, let's see. I had to turn my camera off, so you're going to be talking to yourself for a little
Hooray!
bit. But it's an okay sacrifice to make because now the viewers will get to see you normally and not you just kind of frozen there.
No, I see it in the corner.
So you're good. All right. Let's start off with cash games then. Let's try to make everybody some money and with some safer picks this week. We're gonna go. I'm gonna say it, even though I don't know really if it has to be said. But Drew Brees, #1 cash QB this week in my eyes, in I think pretty much everybody's eyes. Do we really have to go beyond that, or can we just get into another cash game quarterback?
We can continue because he's the #1 cash game play of the week.
Done. So, with that being said, some people
Home in the
like
dome. Home in the dome.
Yes, against Tampa and Lovie Smith. So that being said, some people like to fade one position.
Wait, time out. Before you jump in, can I just make a quick comment about the game that's on right now? Latimer's not on the field ever.
Yeah.
Norwood and Caldwell have become the 3 and the 4, and Latimer just disappeared.
What happened to Latimer? Like, why are they doing this?
He was so talented coming out of Indiana. Like, I don't understand.
That's my point. I don't know what happened to him.
It's like Jeff Janis. Like what? I don't know what's going on right now. Why isn't he playing?
Well, Jeff Janis can't really run clean routes. That's why he's not playing.
He's a freak.
I like him a lot.
No, you don't. You hate Jeff Janis.
I don't. That's
Yes, you
that's
do.
a bad rumor that you started. So
Not rumor. It's fact.
a
You hate
bad
Jeff.
rumor that you started. So outside of Drew Brees, let's go with a second cash game quarterback, and I believe that is Sam Bradford. Dallas, according to uh, DraftKings, has the third-ranked defense against passing. Now that's because Eli Manning couldn't throw for anything last week, right?
1 week. Like
So
the whole
right,
opponent ranking thing from 1 week. Like just don't even.
it needs to be ignored, I'd say, until about week 4.
Yeah.
You really need
You can
several
get
weeks,
some information from it, but like
not a whole hell of a lot.
wait till week 4 or 5.
Yeah, yeah. So in saying that, we like Sam Bradford a lot. He's sitting at 6,900. Is he's your number 2 cash game QB right now?
Probably not, but I would definitely play him in a cash game. I think that offense just supports him getting yardage, and he should have had another touchdown last week, but that was a bunch of bullshit.
Okay, so let's do. I wish I had a drum roll sound right now. Let's do the first inaugural edition of Who's Your Bay then. So we've got Bradford sitting at 6,900 on DraftKings this week. He's at home now, at home against Dallas this week. 6,900. Let's go up $200 to Tony Romo taking on Philly on the opposite side of the field. Bradford or Romo?
Bradford, because no Dez. He's going to break in some like new looks for these receivers. I think it's going to take a week or two before Romo kind of gets going with that. He does have the 2 tight ends. I think those are going to be the main benefactors of the Dez injury, Escobar and Witten.
Bradford or going up $100 beyond Romo and at $7,200 on DraftKings, Big Ben sitting there.
Ooh, that's
Ben,
tough.
Ben at home.
Ben at home, but they move the ball well, but like Wheaton's terrible. I hate saying this, but hey Bebe, my boy from Maryland, that didn't look like a good situation last week either. I mean, he's got Heath Miller and Antonio Brown, and he did okay last week. I just think that Bradford has more, and the 49ers defense looked pretty decent last week. So I just think that they're going to be able to get to Ben more than Dallas is going to be able to get to Bradford.
So I think the 49ers defense looked better than it is last week, right? I think Teddy
No,
B.
definitely. I don't think they're as good as what they.
Yeah, they're not a
Minnesota
shutdown
has
D.
no offensive line.
But
No.
in saying that, I do think they're going to be better than New England's D. New England's defense is not great, right?
Yeah, no.
Pittsburgh kind of drove on them, even though they didn't get into the end zone. Kind of drove on them all game.
You can't go from one play the entire year in Malcolm Butler. I know it was a big play, but you don't go from an occasional role being on the field, period, to going to the number 1 shutdown corner on your team. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
right.
happen. And he got toasted all week by Antonio Brown, or all game.
Yeah, yeah.
Toasted.
And
that's their number 1 corner. Come on.
exactly.
Not a good defense.
Exactly. So I think San Francisco is definitely going to be better. I don't know if you're going to see the same type of stats out of. I mean, Brown gets his, right? We all know that.
Brown will get his. I think Heath Miller will at least definitely return value for you, but without Le'Veon Bell getting him an extra like 50 to 100 yards just receiving, it's tough.
Okay, so let's drop down then. We went all the way up to 7,200. Let's drop down again.
Sorry. Wait, one more quick thing on that. I think that San Francisco, because they can only run the ball, they're going to take off a lot more time on the clock, giving Ben less opportunities, whereas Bradford is just going to run as many plays as humanly possible because that's the Philly way. He's going to have more opportunities to get points than Ben is.
Okay, so you still like Bradford, sitting 300 less than Ben on DraftKings. On FanDuel, Ben's sitting at 8,400, while Bradford is at 7,500, so a $900 swing there. Let's jump down then below Bradford What about Stafford heading into Minnesota,
Nope.
6,800?
No Stafford.
Agreed. Let's move on to.
Just don't. He's so bad. Like, I used to love him, but people are still stuck on 2011. He hasn't been a good quarterback since 2011. It's just not there. And the reason people think he's so good is because Calvin has been so dominant over that stretch, but he only throws the ball to Calvin and a running back. He can throw
Well,
to
we
one
saw last
receiver
week what
and one
happened when
running
he
back, and
didn't.
that's it for his stats.
We
Like,
saw
he'll,
what happened last week when he didn't throw to Calvin. They got
yeah.
messed up.
I mean, he's just not safe anymore.
Okay, so let's drop down then $200 to Carson, Bradford or Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer.
Okay. Again, Palmer at Chicago, sitting at 6,700 on DraftKings, and he is. Let me find him. 7,800 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I would play Carson. Absolutely.
Okay, then Carson or Tyrod Taylor, 6,200.
In a cash game, it's Carson.
Cash game Carson. All
It's
right.
in a cash game, it's Carson because Belichick versus rookie receivers or rookie quarterbacks.
Oh, I'm not arguing with you. I think it's Carson by far. I agree
No,
with
I'm
you there.
just trying to. I'm giving a little bit of an explanation
Yep.
as to why. I think Tyrod has more upside. Maybe. Well, obviously, his upside is enormous, but
Yeah.
I think Carson's safer and has a better chance of hitting his upside, even for a tournament play.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So we've got actually, I think we listed out 3 cash game QBs for you guys out there. Breeze, obviously, and then Bradford at 6,900 on DraftKings, and Carson at 67 on DraftKings. I don't think either of us would hate any of those guys in our cash game lineups this week.
Ooh, Alex Smith, did he just throw a pick?
He did.
Oh,
He did.
hold up. Wow, Alex Smith with a yeah.
That was ugly.
Yeah.
That was ugly. Who was that? Macklin? Macklin didn't come back to the ball at all. Terrible play. You got to go get that. All right. On to running backs here. Who is your top cash game running back this week?
Top cash running back?
Mm-hmm.
Like, like the way I kind of play, I don't go high at running back. I think people that watched the show last year know that. So I would say the most I would spend in cash on a running back would probably be Carlos Hyde. 51.
5,100. Okay. Now,
Like I mean I think Marshawn Lynch is a great cash game play. Your rush defense looked awful.
yes.
So if I was spending up, I would probably say Marshawn.
I will not disagree with you there. Our rush D looked absolutely putrid. We were playing without Dayton Jones and LaTroy Guion.
Don't care.
Dayton Jones comes back this week, which is nice, but still without Guion,
Don't care.
it does suck. I do see Lynch having I'm pretty sure he's going to hit 100 yards this weekend.
Forte's 50 years old, and you let him run wild. So
Yeah, I mean, it sucked. But let's go. Okay, then. So I agree with Hyde at 5,100. But, question to you. He's got to be, recency bias is going to come into play. And people are going to say, oh, let me click the fantasy points per game, sort by. And Carlos Hyde's going to be up there and he's going to be super cheap.
everybody's gonna play him.
Does that turn you
Like
off from
Devontae Adams
playing him in
last week.
cash game at all? Or does that keep you around?
That keeps me wanting to play him. If there's somebody that's highly owned, that is highly productive, that everybody's going to use, I'd rather have him and not get burnt by him. Because
Okay.
if I have him and he doesn't do well,
Right.
then everybody else is going to fail miserably with him also, as
Good.
opposed to not having him and him going off, and then you're behind. I remember during baseball season, there was like an early slate of games. It was DeGrom and Arrieta were against each other at City, and Kluber was pitching. And I was like, I'm going to fade Kluber this week. I'm going to go with Arrieta DeGrom. The two of them are great. DeGrom's at home. Arrieta's been spectacular. DeGrom got beat, and Kluber threw 15 Ks, and I was one of, I think, or 3 out of 40 people that didn't have Kluber, and my bats did great. I would have won if I had played Kluber. So for me, like in a cash game, if somebody's going to be highly owned that you think has a chance to outproduce their salary, do it.
Just play him.
Just do it. Like
Just
I played
play
Devontae
him.
Adams last week, not because I wanted to.
Yep.
Because if he had a big game, I needed to be a part of it, or I was going to be behind the 8 ball, and he didn't do well, which hurt a lot of other people. But the rest of my lineup was fine. So him doing poorly didn't hurt me as much because everybody else had him also.
All right.
So everybody was on the same footing.
Let's move to a different running back then. You mentioned, where's Lynch to this week? He's at 7,200. I'm going to drop all the way down to 6,200. Would you play Lynch or Justin Forsett?
Lynch. I don't like Justin Forsett at all. Tie ball game, by the way.
Yeah. Who just scored?
Curious Norwood.
Norwood? Wow.
Greg was DMing me about him last week. I was like, and
oh, wow.
I'm an asshole. That's fine.
It's all right.
No, he's down.
How about Ingram at 59?
To save money, probably, just because I think they're going to be up and they're just going to pound the rock. But if Spiller's healthy, I don't want to touch Ingram.
Okay.
Lynch has a safer floor, but Ingram saves you a lot of money.
He does. That's quite a drop. Okay. So we've got a high pick in Lynch. We've got a low pick in Hyde. We'll stick there with cash games.
There's a lot of lower guys that I would rather play than all of them just because of the salary relief that I get.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people and a lot of research has been done showing that running backs in cash games in particular are worth spending up for. Right?
Yeah.
A lot of Jonathan Bales.
Bank account that because I went straight cash only with Ivory and Woodhead. And I'm going to roll that way this week again, too.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that Jonathan Bales' research, I'm coming right out of one of his books.
Fine. But I'm going to go against the grain because there's value to be had at running back.
Sure, and we'll talk about them in our GPPs. I think
there's more value to be had early on in the year with running backs than there is a wide receiver.
Right, which we saw blatantly last week.
Blatantly. Yeah. There's Abdullah down there. Even, I hate him, but Bishop Sankey is still moderately priced. Giovanni Bernard could have a pretty solid day against San Diego because he's more shifty than Hill is in space. Vereen, they're going to have to play catch-up. He's going to be in the game. Darren Sproles, there's
I'm gonna argue against. I personally wouldn't play Sproles in a cash lineup.
I'm
just
mentioning names that
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? We're talking about cash lineups right now, and some people won't have the confidence level, let's say, in those cheaper guys who are third down backs, right? Nope, they're going for 2. Sure. Oh no, he was out.
No, they didn't get in. I just said that.
Oh, let's go.
You know who doesn't look good? C.J. Anderson, even though he's about to. Nope, didn't get in.
No. Okay, so let's move on to wide receiver then. We mentioned Drew Brees as a top overall cash game play, and pairing him with Brandon Cooks. This looks like the top overall cash game play there as well.
I'm not going to call it the top overall cash game play, but it's safe as.
I think it's going to be the most common. How about that?
Oh yeah.
So definitely. What's your second cash game wide receiver this week?
Do you really want me to say it?
I mean, don't say Julio. Give me somebody other than.
But that's my safest cash game play. His salary went down after he scored 38 points. He is the safest cash game play on the slate. Demarius just scored over my shoulder.
No, that was Virgil Green.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was awful.
Bucko and Daniels. Let's go, Virgil Green.
That's bullshit. Okay. Give me another wide receiver.
That's not Julio Jones?
Correct.
Jordan Matthews.
I love that pick, actually, and I think him and Cooks are kind of 1A and
And
1B.
you can't make me play name game with them because I'm just gonna play both of them.
No,
Just
no.
be happy
Playing
with
name
that.
game with them is silly. Now, we'll play name game with people who are, plus or minus 1,000 around them. So we've got
Sure.
Cooks sitting at 7,000 and Jordan Matthews sitting at 7,100 on DraftKings. We've got on FanDuel, Cooks sitting at 7,400 and Jordan Matthews sitting at 7,000. So kind of the same across the board, which is interesting.
I mean, it's early. It's gonna stay pretty similar, and the prices also came out middle of the Atlanta Philly game, so a
Right.
lot of the Atlanta, Philly, San Francisco, Minnesota players are just gonna be similar priced to they were last week.
Right, right.
That's why Hyde is such a good play this week because he didn't go up like at all.
So let's go again. 7,100 Jordan Matthews, 7,000 Brandon Cooks on FanDuel. Going down. Let's go down all the way to.
Shouldn't you? I would rather you go up just so I can embarrass some of the top names.
No, I'm gonna go both. So what about Roddy White sitting at 58? Jarvis Landry at 59.
Corey.
Okay, okay.
He would probably be the
Now-
closest. He would be the closest one that's lower than 7,000 that I would put.
I was gonna say I still think he's a great cash game play, just maybe not as good as those other two, right?
No, not at all.
All right. Julian Edelman, 6,700.
No, not.
So I think he's going to be an interesting play this week. I don't know if I'm going to go cash game because I do like Rex and that Buffalo defense, but I think Rex has come out and talked about shutting down Gronk so much that it's just going to leave. That he's going to double and triple team Gronk at times, he was saying. It's got to leave room open for Julian Edelman to just be shifty and, have another 8 or 10 catches for 80 to 100 yards.
He'll have a big game, but I don't like his touchdown upside in the cash game. I think Cooks and Matthews are much safer to get in the end zone and put up those stats.
I'll agree. Like I said, I didn't think I like him for cash, but I do like him to have a good week.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
Some people, again, may not have the same mindset that they want a touchdown, right? 8 or 10 catches is okay for them in a cash game.
I don't know if I would be comfortable needing Edelman to get me 20 points this week.
That is true.
Where I'm comfortable with Matthews and Cooks being able to get me 20.
Okay, so now let's go up and let's assume he plays, since reports came out today that he's 100%. Mike Evans, 7,400.
Nope.
No? You don't like Evans on that?
I like Evans.
The Saints D is pretty terrible.
I don't like him over either, and I don't like Jameis at all.
Okay.
Jameis is bad.
Okay, not going to disagree with you there.
And they never really got a chance to work together because he had the strain in week 2 when they were finally getting a chance to play, and just couldn't.
How about AJ Green at home, 7,500?
Nope.
I do like him as a cash game play. Probably not as much as those two guys.
Exactly.
But I think I still like AJ in cash games. I won't hate on it.
We need to play a name game with people that I'm iffy on. Because the people that I clearly
that's going to be GPP. It's who's your bay, and that's going to be GPP. Because cash game, that's the whole point of cash games, right? You play the guys that you're very, very confident in to have a great game. GPP is going to be more where this or that. So
we're not arguing. I'm just saying
we'll have better who's your bay.
When I start off with the guys that I like, the answer is just going to be similar.
Yeah, we'll have better bays for you as we get into it. All right.
No, we're already using my bays. The next, it's just plain old name game. This is Bay City.
It's still who's your bay. It's still going to be who's your bay. So I don't even care. All right, let's move on to tight end here this week. I mean, last week was the weekend of the tight end, right? If you had Kelsey and Eifert, in that flex spot, I mean, that's cash. That was cash in your pocket all weekend long. So I'll be honest. We're not going to see that again, right? I mean, we're not going to see all that many tight ends catch that many touchdowns again. That was pretty absurd. So
Don't be so sure the tight ends are coming.
so
Tight end
okay.
is here.
All right. So
I'm not even. I'm saying that with a straight face. The tight end revolution is coming.
so who's your cash game tight end this week then?
Eifert.
You're going back to the Eifert well, huh?
Yeah, I would say my top two, only because Witten is too. I think Witten has too much into his price. I would go Eifert and Heath Miller, with Jordan Reed a close third, but not so much because guess what? He's hurt again. He has a quad strain. So.
Does he really?
Yep.
Reed was limited in practice Thursday due to a quad strain.
Yep.
But
head
coach Jay Gruden
everybody. He had a great game and then he got hurt.
Ailment isn't severe. He just had a little tweak today, Gruden clarified. I think it's minor. We just held him out of a period or two. So definitely injury concern. I would agree with that, right? But
anytime he doesn't practice, scares the living hell out of me.
But in this instance, since Deshaun's out, I'm happy that they hold him out. I don't hate it.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
I don't hate it. I'd rather they hold him out and be cautious with him and leave him as questionable and he ends up playing.
But it still scares me that he's
not.
No.
I agree with that. I'm just saying I'd rather they give him that designation now.
He could have a huge game because Kirk Cousins is gonna have no time to throw the ball to anybody but him.
Exactly. All right, let's look at GPPs. So I'm going to throw a GPP quarterback out there that I don't know if many people will be on, but tell me how you like Andy Dalton this week.
I like Andy Dalton this week. I was hoping you were going to say Andy Dalton.
Yeah?
Dude, you know how I feel. He's still a soulless ginger, and he's not a good quarterback. But when you have AJ Green and Tyler Eifert with that running game, you can be really bad and still be a really productive fantasy producer. I said this week one when we were talking about this. As long as Andy Dalton has keys to throw the ball to, a big-ass AJ Green, Sanu last year when AJ Green was hurt, Eifert is huge.